us more.
Levi Lusko, there is not one workout that I love. See, that's that crazy stuff y'all be talking about, you and Craig and Steven, like, oh, I love doing. I don't love nothing in the gym. Let me be
you like
very
it when it's
clear.
over. Well, Pastor Michael, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Bro, this is my pleasure. What are you talking about?
We're
I love
so
y'all.
glad
You look
you're here.
You look really good, by the way.
Man,
Always fly.
I appreciate you. I am drinking a lot of water right now. You know, I just finished a fast, and my wife thinks that I look good working out. So I've been trying to work out some more.
That's it. What have you been doing in the gym?
You.
What kind of stuff have you been? I mean, I've seen some workout videos that you post where you're just getting after it.
The pandemic messed me up, bro. Like, let me just say, I was on it. I was going strong. I usually go to the gym. Like, mentally, I need to like go somewhere. And so when that little shutdown happened and everybody was doing stuff, we were figuring stuff out with the church, and I became friends with ice cream, cookies and cream, Bluebell to be exact. And it was just feeling good. And I've been back on it probably for about 3 months, and it feels good, man, just to make sure that I'm getting stronger and being anchored. That's our word for this year, is being anchored mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so we're just grateful.
No, I
Amazing.
saw that. Yeah, the anchored word. We'll have to come back to that.
So is that anchored? Is that for you and Natalie, or is that you as a church, or is that you personally?
Yeah, so all of the above.
The answer is
yeah, like,
C, all
yes,
of the above.
also.
yeah. So it's one of those things that every year I really make it an intention to go and just seek God. Like, I just go get in a hotel, and my wife and my assistant know where I'm at, and I just pray and write vision and just ask God, like, where is Transformation Church supposed to go in 2021 or in the next year? Where am I supposed to go? And usually since 2015, every year there's been a word that kind of we gathered our faith around, and that and made us have direction. And the word this year was anchored.
Wow.
And literally, I was on vacation in August, and we're walking to the beach, and there is like a 40-foot anchor sitting on the side of the beach, and nobody saw it. We had been passing it like every day for like 6 days, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, I hear you, God. And like everywhere, it's just like anchors. And we live in Oklahoma, so we're landlocked. There are no anchors in Oklahoma, like for real. Like, but I've been seeing them everywhere, in the bottom of cups and in different things. And it's just been a reminder that God wants us to not drift in 2021.
Come on.
And so we've labeled this year the year of the anti-drift. And we're just trying to stay anchored to Jesus and be an anchor for people in hope.
Beautiful.
So you're going to get an anchor tattoo?
Levi Lusko, I don't have any tattoos. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up, but I think my wife has tried to get me to get a couple of tattoos, but I just, I don't know.
Don't feel it yet.
I just haven't.
Because she has some, right?
Yeah, she does. And that is the weirdest thing in the world. Like, my wife has tattoos. I do not.
Okay, so my tattoo is the very first one I ever got, and the very first one Jenny ever got was an anchor. That was our very first tattoo. Yeah, so mine, I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh, beautiful chest, Levi.
There we go. And that's Jenny's right there. And
okay, that's awesome.
That anchor's on Linya's casket too. So that symbol, that was the significance of it, the connection to Hebrews 6, obviously.
Yeah.
So when I saw that was your word for the year, I was like, man, that's great. I can't wait to hear you preach, because I can't hear too much preaching about that. It's what's your favorite insight, or what so far, what's come out of it?
I think the big thing is that an anchor is only needed in the deep. And I think that I did a message, and I was talking about kiddie pool Christianity, and talking about there's no need for an anchor in shallow waters.
Dang.
And it's not safer in the shallow. And I've been just going through this concept. If God told us the word is anchored, that means that where we're at has to be conducive for an anchor. So some of our relationships are in such shallow waters that we don't need an anchor there. Like, some of our ideas of what God wants to do in our lives are so shallow, we don't need an anchor there. But if he wants us to be anchored, anchors are only needed in the deep. And so we've just been pushing off the shore, believing bigger, trying to make sure that we're doing the things that God wants us to do in every area of our life. And I told our team, our staff, our church, that it's not safer in the shallow. like if God's calling us to go deeper, like it's dangerous for us to be in shallow waters. And I think that's the truth for the capital C church too. I think the reason why a lot of people are kind of disgruntled and maybe disappointed in some of the things that the church overall is doing is because we've been playing in the shallow. And God, they need real power. They need to see miracles. They need to see love on display in the midst of adversity. They need to see all of this, and all that happens in the deep. And so just feeling like David in Psalms, like the deep cries out to deep, like the deep cavern of me, of Michael, of our humanity needs the deep love of God, the thing that can overwhelm us and submerge us. And you got me preaching already, but like I just really think that we need an anchor, and we got one.
Yes, so insightful. I love that.
Well, coming back to the gym, because I'm not done with that in my mind yet. Are you home for the gym, or did you build a home gym up, or are you going out to a facility now?
Yeah, I gotta leave. I gotta go mentally. Like the drive to the gym, like me praying or playing music or listening to a podcast. Like I gotta mentally know that I'm getting stronger, and then my physical comes along. And so I listen to leadership podcasts from Craig Groeschel. I listen to your messages or some of my friends' messages during I gotta feel like I have to be growing right now. And as soon as I leave this house, everything's about growth. So I'm growing mentally, I'm growing spiritually, and then I'm about to go in the gym and die, but I'm going to grow physically. And that really helps me.
And do you work out with a trainer, or do you come up with your own exercises?
I can't come up with my own exercises. I like in this area. And this is one of the things that I love about living transparently. I'm so disciplined in a lot of areas of my life. And this is one area that I'm not when it comes to working out and doing those things on my own. And so as a leader, as a boss, as all these things, there's still an area of my life that I need to be fully submitted to another human being. And I think God makes it like that on purpose, that no matter how great you do in 7 different areas, there's still 7 more areas that you need to be humble enough to submit to somebody. So my workout partner is actually my security and assistant. Like, so he, like literally everywhere else, like he's making sure everything's good. But when coming to the gym, I'm his. Like he works me out. He tells me, come on, let's go. And I think it's good. I think it's healthy for all of us to have an area where we are co-submitted.
Yeah, right.
Like where there is an area that I may be the lead in an area, but then when we come into a place where you have more wisdom, or you're more advanced, or that's a passion of yours, that I can be fully submitted. And that's what we do in the gym, and he kills me every.
Is there a favorite and a least favorite exercise or activity that you do? Is there one where he brings up like, finally, this is one I love, and the one that's like, dear God, I hate this one?
Levi Luskos, there is not one workout that I love. See, that's that crazy stuff y'all be talking about, you and Craig and Steven, like, oh, I love doing. I don't love nothing in the gym. Let me be very clear.
It's over.
But you love spin class.
But I do love spin class. I'm going to
take you to your very first spin class in your life.
My very first spin class with Jenny Lusko. I do have a request. For those of us with bigger bums, I need a different seat because that almost
you need a beach cruiser seat.
I need a lazy boy on that mug. You hear me? God has blessed me with a backside, and that little bitty little cycling thing almost took me out on that spin class.
I love it in relationship
and then my feet was locked in, and I almost fell over.
Oh gosh,
but it was great.
But you and Natalie together, that was a great memory.
I love in relationship goals. Time. You talk about you tried to dress like somebody else, so you went to the store where they shopped, and you put the clothes on. And you're like, the only problem was I have a booty and thighs.
I got a booty and thighs. I got it honestly from
you said I looked like a Polish. I looked like a Polish sausage.
I was coming out of everything, and I can't wear no skinny jeans like that, bro. That ain't me.
Okay, so I relate to that. Like I hate a lot of workouts that I'm doing. But I like doing tricep stuff. For some reason, triceps don't feel as bad as doing core.
Because you have great.
I'm just saying, like that particular movement.
He's trying to he doing the stuff that he can look at the mirror and just be like, yeah.
Oh, they call the triceps vanity muscles. It's 100% true.
It's definitely. I think my least favorite though is burpees.
Okay, yeah.
Because like I just like it just like oh, I got to get down and I got to get back up and like
and jump.
Just
okay.
and jump.
Well,
it's
burpees
just
are
like
from the devil, and they make you taste battery acid.
See, I like the burpees. Every time I do burpees, like it has to be at the very end of my workout, or it really messes up like the rest of the workout. Like,
Yes.
but I'm gonna get better.
Have you
2021,
tried,
I'm anchored.
have you tried boxing? Has he got you on bags at all?
No,
Mitts?
well, we got some gloves.
Yeah.
We have not boxed yet. He's like trained in martial arts and all of this other stuff. And he's like 57 years old, but like he could kick anybody's butt. And so it's one of those things that I'm kind of scared to like put on gloves with him, but we'll figure it out.
He's your security. He's not going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, he crazy too, but I don't.
He's saved, but not that saved.
Yeah, he's saved, but not that
job
saved.
security. Yeah. He'll keep his job.
Yeah,
he
can't
hit
fine.
the moneymaker, bro. Okay, so when Annie Downs came on this podcast, she said that there was a different kind of exercise for every Enneagram. And every Enneagram has a different exercise they're better at. So she hated the gym till she found out, apparently for her Enneagram, which is a 7, soccer is supposedly great. So she started playing soccer and loves it. So I wonder if there's not, because when I took up boxing, I found the 3-minute rounds, the beginning and ending, hitting the mitts, the rhythmicness, the feeling of like, I got that combination.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like you're working out, but you don't feel like you're working. I wonder if there's something you could do that would be
Where do
more.
we find this at? I've never heard of it.
What's your Enneagram?
Before. I'm an 8
okay,
on
so
the Enneagram.
We can Google Enneagram 8 workout. We'll see if we can figure something out.
I need to know. And if it is being, you know what I'm saying, like walking around the block slowly and admiring trees. Like,
maybe it's walking around the block slowly. Walking is really good for you. Okay, now you're one of the most disciplined and intentional people I know. And even just you mentioned it briefly, you know, you go into a hotel to pick your word for the year that's then going to be rolled out to the church and everybody. And I've talked to you on the phone before where it's like you've been on retreats from preaching. I came across this metric that LeBron James spends about $1 million every year just on recovery.
Wow.
Right.
And a lot of people want to be like LeBron, so they go do what he does in the gym or they do what he does in the weight room, but forgetting a lot of what he does is paying for someone who's going to study him sleeping and this, that, the other. So when it comes to your recovery, you know, I know you preach probably 30 to 40 a year weekends.
Yeah, I think it's getting a little less now, just with all the demand that's happening everywhere else. But yeah,
what's your goal number? Where it's like I can do
35.
35.
Like I'm doing less right now because I really do believe that there is something I'm better rested. Like, and I don't say that in any type of way, except, you know, when the Bible talks about that Jesus withdrew often. I'm finding that all the sermon series, everything that like really hits comes off of me being on a break.
Yes.
Like relationship goals was out of me being on a 1.5 month sabbatical. And I came back and relationship goals is 4 years old, but still is impacting people today.
Yeah.
When I did Crazy Faith, that was off a sabbatical. Like I was gone and I came back, and it's not like calculated. Like I know it's kind of like hindsight is 2020 right now.
Right.
But so it's become, as I've been talking to my counselor and doing different things with my wife, it's more of a spiritual discipline for me now than it is. I don't want to even, like, I'm a worker. Like I like working. Like I like making things happen and moving things. But the pace of my life, as I'm seeing God bless certain things, I got to look at why he's blessing them.
Yeah.
And like, what is the common connection to this? Like, oh, snap. Like, I took a break and then I came back. I was ready. And that's how I could do Crazy Faith for 20 weeks. Or I could do, you know what I'm saying? And so I think rest and recovery is something that I have valued from day one of me being a pastor that is odd to people. But Tim Ross, my oversight, he really had a really cool conversation with me about lasting and about what we needed to put in place to be able to last. And we're 6 years in. We celebrate 6 years of being the pastors of the church, like next weekend.
Wow.
And I feel as vibrant or more vibrant than I did the day I started. I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like God is just starting to show us our lane and how we're supposed to be able to impact the world.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of that is because of the way that we rest and recover. And it honors God. Like he literally puts it in his word, like, yo, I'm gonna create everything, universe, Nemo, Shamu, everybody in 7 days, but I'm gonna leave a day in there so you can know that if you rest, and really what rest is trusting God.
Yes.
Like when you rest, when you withdraw, you're saying, God, I could do something right here, but I would rather you do it than I did it. And what that does is in my life, it invokes this level of faith and trust that lets me know, like, me being gone from the church for a month, not preaching. Well, Lord, is anybody coming back, and da da da. And it really puts me in my place. It humbles me. This ain't your church.
Wow.
This is God's church. This is not your platform. This is my platform that I let you borrow. And it just really recenters me, and I come back with so much vigor for the future. And so, yeah, I don't got $1 million to spend on rest and recovery like LeBron, but with what I do have, I'm going to use it and steward over this gift he's given me.
Yeah, it's
so
beautiful.
good.
And I think for everybody, there's a parallel. So obviously what is being demanded of him is psychological and physical and emotional. And there's that for you too. So I think for everybody listening, the key isn't do what LeBron does or do what Pastor Mike does. It's have the value of rest at play in their life, depending on the demand. And the demand goes up and down. You know, like they say in giving an hour public speaking address, which is what you do, times 10 because of the intensity, you know, of what you're doing, that the physical toll it takes is considerable. Watching you, I don't know if you've ever worn a fitness tracker while you're preaching.
No, I haven't.
It's really interesting how I would be very interested to see what you're like. This is a fitness tracker, and I've accidentally worn it in preaching, and it tagged preaching as a cardiovascular activity.
Oh, wow.
And peaks of heart rates and.
Hey, that's how you can get your exercise.
Well, so I mean, you are burning calories there. Tell your security guard, hey, did we find out?
I'm just going to preach more and track it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay, so for Enneagram 8s, it's competitive contact sports or weightlifting.
Yes, I will do that with no asking. If we're playing football or tag something
So you just need to get your guy to get like some sort of structured way that you can have some contact.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
That's a good idea. And then I can knock somebody over. Like, no, yeah, I like that.
Find a way. No one's allowed to hurt you, but you're allowed to hurt them.
Yes.
And then
I love that. I love that idea. Did y'all get that? Okay, cool. All
okay.
Right.
So when it comes to giving that talk, they say it's the equivalent of toll it takes on you of an 8-hour workday.
Wow.
So when but then you think about the preparation side and the studying and the putting it together. So I think you're saying you value preparation, you value not only the preparation, but the rest of it. And that is what is allowing you to do it at 6 years, you know, like you just begun, even with more fresh faith.
Well, and how sweet is that you're literally like, it's kind of like a tithe of your time, like what you're saying, like you're showing that you trust God and that it's not about you and that God's given you everything. But then in those moments and in that rest, He's so faithful to kind of like give you and download to you something for the next season. So it kind of, it's just that beautiful give and take that's with God. And it's so cool to see that in your life.
He's a provider.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't give him space to provide.
Right.
Like we don't give him that margin. That's our new word around here, that a lot of times you need a margin for God to write something in it. And there's the big titles happen in the margin. Like if you look at a little piece of paper, like maybe that your kids would have, like they leave a little extra space at the top because whatever it's titled, whatever the next season is, whatever that vision is supposed to be, needs to be bigger. And without that margin, you don't see it clearly. And I just think for me, the margin allows me to see what God wants to do even a little bit more clearly.
That's great.
Now, outside of church and preaching and publishing and all the things, what gives you joy? What gives the Todd family joy? Obviously, you got 3 kids, fourth on the way. Congratulations, by the way.
It's over too. Like, thank y'all, but it's over. Like it's done.
The show's over.
No more. We're
Finale.
Over.
Yeah.
Finale.
Shut the factory down.
Yes, sir.
What's the funnest thing for family days? What do you what brings you guys joy when you're together?
We have random dance parties all the time in the Todd household. Like I have Sonos speakers everywhere. And so we just turn the music up and we just dance. Like, and my girls and my son, they love music. And that's really that's something that gives me so much joy. I've been in the studio a lot, creating,
congratulations, by the way.
music.
Now music. I mean, not now. It was always there.
Always music. But
it was in the background, though. Nobody knew I did it,
Yep.
except like people close to me.
Well,
like,
you would show up drumming here and there, like the secret Mike Todd drum moments.
Yeah. But now I'm back in the studio and I'm working on stuff, and it's just really exciting to be using what is the gift God's given me to be able to represent him in a new way. And it's just fun. Like, there's no pressure. I'm not doing it because I need money or I want to blow up. It's like, I'm doing it because I love to do this and God's gifted me to do this.
Yes.
And so, music is a really big thing for our family. And it brings us a bunch of joy.
Do you have hobbies outside of that? Like that you guys will go on excursions, trips?
Yeah. Like, I mean, our family, we're a park family. My kids love the jump park. Those darn, I don't even know what
the trampoline buildings.
Trampoline. Oh my goodness! Like they can stay in there for 3 hours.
Yes.
Like, and I'm on the sideline, like, oh God, and they want me to run and jump. But we have such a good time.
You will never feel so old as being in your 30s on a trampoline,
bro.
Oof.
It is treacherous. But then I do get a second wind. I think that 8 thing is coming into effect because when we go into the little dodgeball thing, I'll be knocking them little kids out. It just brings so much joy to my spirit. And now that I understand working out by my Enneagram, I get energized.
Yes.
And,
there's a competitive aspect to it.
I love it.
There's a challenge.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Gosh.
The things you learn on the Levi Luskos podcast.
I
love y'all.
We're here to serve you. Well, I do want to congratulate, we both do, on not only the success, and I use that word in every sense. Of course, the commercial success is considerable of your book, Relationship Goals, that I'm holding here. Those who are watching on YouTube and not listening can see it. It's beautiful, and it's over your shoulder as well. I love this because I feel like Jenny and I got to be a little bit involved in the early days of it because we were sitting over a table and this was a dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this was a conversation.
I was asking you, like, bro, do you think people would buy the book? And you
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
You said it will be a New York Times bestseller. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I've never written anything. What restaurant? This was like some Buffalo.
The Lodge.
In Montana. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about writing a book. And he was like, this is going to be a huge book. And I mean, Levi, I will give him credit publicly. He was one of the first people that was like, bro, this is going to blow up. And I was just sitting there like, okay. And he was like, with what God has given you and your intentionality, he was like, people are going to receive it in book form. Because I'm good at communicating when people can see me or they can hear me, but I've never found impact in written form. And I know you and Levi have written so many amazing books, but when he sat down across that table, and we talked probably a couple times during the process, because I was asking like, okay, like, what is the like book publishing thing? Like, how do we da-da-da? And I just want to thank you, man, for being such inspiration and encouragement in this process. And you were right. Well, by God's grace, man.
By God's grace. Not only that, I mean, how many weeks was the total run? Last time I talked to you was 16.
Yeah, it was 15 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. And the only reason we went off is because I went on sabbatical. And I made that decision intentionally.
Wow.
That I was not going to not honor God, even though I was having public.
Well, the temptation would be stay out in the limelight, stay out doing interviews, work in the system.
I mean,
all that stuff.
I canceled some of the biggest media in the world, not Christian media, secular media.
Wow.
The Breakfast Club, I had the awesome opportunity to be on the Breakfast Club, but that was God's grace because they called and wanted me to do it while I was supposed to be on sabbatical. And I told them no. And, you know, you tell a major publication no like that, they're like, all right, on to the next one.
Right.
But they came back and did it the day I came back from sabbatical.
Wow.
And it was just like a moment again of me saying, God, I'm not going to break this pattern, this rhythm, this mode that you've had me in just because now it's working on a different level.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened with the New York
I
Times
texted
bestsellers
you that
list.
day
That's
after the
incredible.
Breakfast Club. I remember that interview. You shined so brightly. And that's an interesting space to walk into, a challenging, daunting, I'm sure. But the way you represented and represented Jesus in that moment was beautiful for me to watch, inspiring. And
Thanks,
I
bro.
felt it. I meant it when I said it at the restaurant. And I talk to a lot of authors, and I do not, that's not my go-to line. You know, like I say it to everybody because I hope
Right.
one day I'm going to be right. Like, I think we all really have just known there's something special on this message.
Yeah.
It was like that in YouTube form, and just because someone's a great preacher doesn't mean they have that gift of writing. This book is really well written, and your
Thanks, bro.
personality does come across, but it is very personal. You're very vulnerable. I think my favorite chapter is the soul ties chapter.
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that.
Yeah.
But what's beautiful is that you don't present this message in a way that makes people feel ashamed for their past. You present it
you
in a way
can't
that's
do that,
helping
man.
people understand you have a better vision for their future.
Yeah. Because you
I
talk
mean,
about
at the end of the day, go ahead.
I was gonna say you talk about progression over perfection, and I love, and even you Natalie's story is so powerful because you haven't come from a place where everything was perfect, but
Oh no.
but you're encouraging people in their journey and what God's done in their life, and it's so powerful. And you also have that you're able to speak from the place of look at what God's done and look what God can do, and it's just it's beautiful.
And we are, me and Nat talk often on our date nights, and it's like, how in the world did we get here? Like, how did all of this happen? But honestly, it's just a bunch of obedience and being intentional with each other, with God, with our family, and the fruit has been speaking. And we're just grateful that relationship goals is blessing anybody. Like, I honestly wrote the book because I wish I would have had it. It would have saved me and Natalie so much heartache and pain and frustration and regrets if somebody would have just been completely honest about sex and marriage and dating. And I just honestly want my daughters to have something that they could read. I'm going to pay both of my daughters when they're a certain age to read the book. Like, hey, I know Daddy wrote this book. You've seen it all your life, but I'm going to give you $100 to read this book.
Wow.
And I want them to be equipped before they're released into this world, to be able to know their value and their worth, and that their number one relationship goal needs to be God.
Yes.
And out of that, all of their other relationships will flow. And so we're just grateful, man.
That's beautiful.
So
Could you
good.
just take a quick minute and unpack the idea? Because I think it's such an insightful comment on the 90 days when considering dating somebody. I think I've never heard really anybody put it like that.
Yeah.
Our whole thing is like, in today's culture, being in a dating relationship almost is being married. Like, they literally make it like, oh, you're Facebook official, or it's like a commitment without a commitment. And so a lot of people stay away from that commitment because they don't want anybody to think anything. And then other people jump into it prematurely because they think it's going to lead to something. But I just feel like there needs to be a more intentional process to picking the person that you're about to spend your life with, share your life with, and be able to potentially get married to and sign a covenant with before God. Like, I mean, how many tests do we have to take to get a driver's license? And you don't have to take any test to marry somebody, potentially have a child with them, ruin generation. Like, it's just like so free. And so if nobody's going to do it, when I was a youth pastor, I said, we got to give these young people who are meeting each other in youth group like a playbook to really like at least have an opportunity to succeed. And so me and Nat started meeting with them and giving them these mile markers, like these first 30 days. And we called it intentional dating, where, hey, let's acknowledge that you guys like each other. Let's set some boundaries. Okay, what are our boundaries? All right, we do nothing horizontally. Or we're gone from each other by 11 o'clock, or just things that they decide beforehand, not us deciding, us coaching, but giving them a decision and letting them know that why something may be not beneficial or good for them. And then we let them, each one of them, tell them what is their worst fear about being in a relationship. Like, hearing somebody say their worst fear about being in a relationship with that person at the beginning usually gives some type of ownership.
Yeah.
Like they told me, like, I know what, like, if we go down this road, this could really hurt that person. And then we give them literature to read so that a lot of times the foolishness that happens, especially in relationships at the beginning, is because they run out of things to do and say. And so like literally we want you to talk about some content that's helping both of you. And so we would recommend stuff from Jimmy Evans and different people and different things like that, because we didn't have relationship goals back then. And now we recommend relationship goals being a book that people read together or even doing the challenge together.
Yeah,
that's why we're making
the newest release is the Relationship Goals Challenge, which is it really comes across kind of like a devotional. This would be
it's a devotional. Yeah.
Okay.
But the intentionality,
bit,
well, the intentionality is for what I'm talking about right now. It takes any relationship from good to great. We made it a 30-day challenge as the beginning piece to somebody dating, or a piece of strengthening for a couple that is married, or a piece of knowing what to expect for somebody who's single. So it works in a lot of different ways. But the idea came around the content that you could read together with somebody that you're in a relationship with, and every day you could discuss that content. Like, instead of just like, what are you doing today? Well, what are you doing today? Like, how was your day today? How was your day today? And then it just goes to touching and feeling and land 9 months later. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I tell people that is because the sexual part of it takes you away from actually learning the person.
Yep.
Then becomes a selfish part of it. Like, I'm going to do and say whatever I need to do to get to that point in our relationship. And so we want people to get to know each other. And so we started this process of intentional dating. And this is what we said to people. We want to give you an on-ramp and an off-ramp that doesn't have to be traumatic. Like, most times when people break up, it's traumatic because there's no exits. Imagine getting on a highway and there's no exits. And so that's kind of what the process is of intentional dating. And it's really helped a lot of people and a lot of couples in our
And you just think
sphere.
when you challenge the idea of 90 days, like, hey, take these 90 days and wait till you really start dating, it seems like for someone who's crushing, that seems like it would be 100 years. I can't do that. I can't do that. But then you think like, well, gosh, being married 50 years is a real long time.
Is a really long time. And that's what we tell people all the time. What is 3 months as opposed to 30 years?
Yeah.
Like, what, like, you're literally telling me you guys can't keep to this for 3 months. And literally it has weeded people out of a horrible relationship. Because you don't know who people are, like, until you know who people are.
Yes.
And also it's cemented and confirmed. It brings confidence to those relationships when they do move past that. They're like, how are you guys so? And then it's like, well, at the beginning of our relationship, we intentionally, and to be able to like set your laurels on that and be able to say like, yo, we did something that's producing fruit. It just, those couples really do succeed.
Well, that's amazing. And that's so helpful. And for everyone listening, we want you to get both of these books and reading together. I love even just the layout of it, and you leave room for notes. And I love
And there's something
notes.
every day to go do together.
Yeah.
It's one little piece, one little conversation.
It's incredible.
I recommended it to a friend yesterday because him and his wife are apart for a while. So this is just a chance for them to read it, each of them on their own, then come together and talk about on a Zoom or a FaceTime call once a day. It's just very powerful. So
amazing.
And I think the thing that everybody needs to know is that all of your relationships can get better. The question is, what are you willing to put into them to get better?
Yeah.
And I believe that this is a message that needs to come from the church.
Yeah.
I don't think that relationship goals is the only message or the best message. I know it's the message God's given me, but I do believe that the church needs to be the one talking about this, because culture doesn't know about it.
Right.
Like, they don't know how to do it right. This is initiated and architected by God.
Yeah.
And I just think our relationships, all of them, our friendships, our marriages, our business partnerships, our relationship with our children, all of them can be better. And that's why we're just challenged people to make God your number one relationship goal.
Yeah.
And then all your other relationships flow out of that. And so we're just excited to be one voice of many, helping people win in relationships.
Beautiful. Well, we're grateful for your voice. We're grateful
y'all.
for Natalie's voice, and just believe that the best is yet to come for both of you and your church. And we're so grateful for our friendship. And thank you for taking time to be with us today.
Oh, man, we could do this every day. I love it.
I know.
Yeah, bro, love you.
I love it.
Thank you so much for listening. And be sure to swing by LeviLusko.com to see what's going on in our world, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. In the meantime, we would love to connect with you on social media. Jenny and Levi Lusko, out.